WesWes Show.
Yo, man, we'll just get straight into it. So, on Sky TV, so ESPN, they've got this documentary out called Tom Brady, and I think it's called The Man in the Arena, and it's like, so what the series is going to be, each episode will follow his Tom Brady's Super Bowl year. So
Right.
he attended 10 of them, I believe.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
10th one was with Tampa Bay. Yeah, I got you.
So episode 1 is in 2001, his rookie season. So he got drafted 199th pick in the 6th round to New England Patriots as a second string quarterback. And that year was probably the first year they were any good. Hey, because previous years before that, 2001, New England Patriots were shit.
Rubbish. Yeah,
But
rubbish.
do you remember you were following the NFL back then?
Yes, I was. I think I was only like 14, 15 at the time. I was able to watch some NFL. So yeah, it was interesting because I started out following the Rams because they're the greatest show on turf. Kurt Warner, Marshall Falk, Torrey Holt, and Isaac Bruce there on the edges. They had a solid as O-line and pretty alright tight end at the time too. So yeah, and then they were the Kansas City Chiefs at the time. They won the '99 Super Bowl against Tennessee Titans. Derek Mesa, I think it was was it Mo Lewis? I can't quite remember. But the middle linebacker made a tackle on a wide receiver running across the middle, and he ended up reaching out, got tackled, got turned, reached out, and literally the ball was here, and this is the try line, and that became the moment for the St. Louis Rams and Marty. I think it was Martz at the time, the head coach, or it might have been Dick Vermeil actually who took them there. But yeah, and so it was just barely an inch, and then the game wound down, and then obviously St. Louis Rams won it. Fast forward to 2001, they made the Super Bowl again against the Patriots. So yeah, just I don't know, do you want to talk about that? Because I can fill in the blanks on that season if you want to.
Yeah, so episode 1 on documentary was all about that season. So it was quite interesting because I wasn't following NFL back then, but it was interesting to see how the history of Tom Brady, possibly the greatest NFL player of all time, NFL quarterback of all time, and just to hear his sort of normal start to his career. He's come from Michigan, and then he got drafted. But it was funny because he was talking about how he was keeping an eye on the mock drafts because he was always wondering where he's gonna get drafted. So he knew he was gonna get drafted in day 1. So he had that out of his mind. So day 2 or round 2, he didn't get picked, and he was okay. Round 3, didn't get picked, okay, and he sort of gave up by round 5. And then when he got drafted, 199th pick, his family, they celebrated. They celebrated him, but
Just a little backstory on the draft too, was because he's a Bay boy, yeah. He's a Bay Area guy, and he grew up idolizing Joe Montana, bro. So when the San Francisco 49ers picks came up, bro, he was gutted, bro. He was gutted that they didn't select him late in the draft. And he got real hurt by that too, bro. It's been said because I think his dad had taken him to a Niners game at Candlestick Stadium at the time. So, he grew up thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to be a Niners, I'm going to play for the 49ers. So when that came around and he didn't, bro, just, chip on the shoulder sort of buzz as well. Yeah, man. Goes on, So goes on and goes to 10 Super Bowls.
yeah. So I'm not sure if Bill Belichick was the first time coach that year as well.
Nah, bro. So what had happened, he was with the Browns. And when Robert Kraft became the owner of the Patriots, he had sent a whole bunch of draft picks, bro, to the Browns to get him. And that's another story we could talk about, bro, because I watched a documentary on that. And from that coaching staff that Bill Belichick had at the Browns, bro, there's like 2 Hall of Famers, like in regards to GMs from that coaching staff, bro. It's crazy. And there's like a massive like group of head coaches and GMs that are like that have been or are still in the league, bro. It's ridiculous who he had when he was at the Browns. So yeah, Robert Kraft sent a whole bunch of draft picks to the Browns to get Belichick over to the Patriots, because I think Bill Parcells, who was on the way out, so they needed someone in there. And it's interestingly enough, Bill Belichick comes from Bill Parcells' coaching tree. So he was Bill Parcells' defensive coordinator back in the Giants when he had Lawrence Taylor, and that's all you needed back then was just LT.
So this, I didn't see it, but this happened in the middle of the season or before the season started?
Before. I don't know if he came over in the 01 season or in the 2000. I can't remember the date for that specifically, but yeah, Robert Kraft made it a thing. And if you think about it, also, if the Browns had stuck with him, we just have a think, bro. That AFC North would be beast. Anyway, besides the point, that didn't happen.
Yeah, so Tom Brady comes in as a second string quarterback to Drew Bledsoe, and I don't know his history. So he's a top quarterback at the time.
Yeah, so college football, bro, he was a beast. He was pretty much like ruling college football at the time. Got drafted, came into the league, and then that year, that 01 year, the Patriots had given him $100 million contract, bro. Unheard of at the time.
Yep.
Unheard of. So he came in and became the starter, bro. And I wasn't too sure if they were rolling. Like, I don't know what their winning record was their record at the time was. But yeah, the story happened as like they played against the New York Jets. I think Drew Bledsoe was scrambling. And then the middle linebacker from the Jets, Mo Lewis, made a tackle, took him out across the sideline, and then he gets up injured. And then that's the start of what we know now as TB12, bro. Was that moment there? No, it's nuts, eh? It's nuts, bro. Just that one moment.
Yeah, so they went into that. So he got tackled on the sideline, but he had some internal bleeding, so he had to be sent to hospital. Yeah, so it was pretty serious. So he was out for a couple of months, I think. So
100.
yeah, so that's when they had to chuck on Tom Brady.
Yeah. So yeah, and that story goes on. Real similar. There's some parallels to like Mac Jones at the moment. Didn't ask Tom Brady to do much. At the time, I think they had a running. I don't know who the running back was at the time. I don't know if Curtis Martin was still with them or if he had gone to the Jets. But it was that team was predicated on the defense, and they had a whole bunch of players on playing then. And I can't remember who it was. I remember the safety was a guy called Lawyer Malloy. At linebackers, they had Teddy Bruschi and what was his name, Willie McGinnis, and they were Willie was pretty much their designated pass rusher, bro. Yeah. So obviously and the guy was Ty Law. That's right, number 24, the cornerback. So they had some real big key X factor players at key positions at that time, and as you know now, Bill Belichick is a defensive-minded coach, so having those chess pieces allowed him to, dictate field position when it came time to special teams and all that stuff, bro, and creating short fields for Tom Brady and his offense. They didn't have to go 80 yards; they could go probably 50 or 40 because of defensive turnovers.
Willie was the guy they interviewed in the documentary, so he was there just talking about stuff that was going on. Drew Bledsoe as well, he was there too. He was talking.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was he? Was he a bit salty still, or?
It's funny because I never knew, but as they were talking about it, like obviously Tom Brady had to take over, and they were doing well. I mean, they were winning games when Tom Brady jumped on. It was interesting because at the time when Drew Bledsoe was injured, he always thought in the back of his mind that he's gonna come straight back in. That Tom Brady was just warming up his spot.
Yeah.
Just holding the spot for him. But it went into stuff like how you'd think that Drew will have some animosity towards Tom Brady for taking the spot. And I think what the documentary was trying to do was try to tap into that, see if there was any animosity or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was like Drew Bledsoe, he was upset. He was disheartened and upset that he lost his spot. But he never said anything bad about Tom Brady. He did say, though, that he's on the interview. He said, "Man, if Tom Brady was an asshole, would have been a different story." So which probably tells me that he wanted something. He wanted to have animosity so he could feel better about not feeling bad about losing the spot.
yeah. But and like now that we know, the best decision ever made. In NFL history, bro. The best decision. So because he ended up going to the Bills, bro.
Oh yeah.
Playing over there.
Yep.
So he went to a division what do you call it? Opponent.
So there was another part when they made the playoffs, and they're on their way to their on their way to their Super Bowl. But one of the matchups in the playoffs was against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Brady was saying that was the first time ever he was scared to play.
Hey,
yeah, he was actually scared.
The aura, the what do you call it? The reputation, the history, because that Steelers franchise is deep. It's entrenched in the city. So yeah, that's interesting. What was he saying about them, bro?
Oh, he was intimidated.
Was it anything in particular?
He was intimidated. He was scared, and before the game, so he was real nervous. But he said it was the first time he ever felt that way. But and then he remembers because it's pretty cool because Tom Brady, when he's talking in the interview, when he's getting interviewed, he knows every detail of these games. We're talking about back in 2001. I don't know if it's because of his first year as a rookie. You remember these games more. It means more. Or the feelings he had. But he remembers every single detail. So he was going through the plays even. And he was talking about how the Steelers they confused them a lot because they were all blitzing them. That's what he
crowding
said.
the line.
And he didn't know where people were coming from.
Yeah.
He didn't understand. So it made him nervous and that. But I don't know if there was that game or another game, but he actually got injured. He got tackled, he got sacked and he got injured his leg, so he had to get helped out. And at that time Drew Bledsoe, he was fit, so he came on and he won the game. Oh no, it was the Steelers game. So Brady actually got injured in that Steelers game. I think in the second half. Oh no, second quarter. Halfway through the second quarter, he got injured. He had to step out, and Drew Bledsoe came in, and he won the game. He won the game for them, so they moved on. But it was funny because in the interview, when they're interviewing Drew Bledsoe, he was adamant that he won a spot back because of Tom Brady's injury, right? And then he played again the next game. He started the next game, and they won. They made the Super Bowl. So it was a big deal to play in the Super Bowl, and Belichick chooses Tom Brady over Drew Bledsoe because they were both healthy. But just like you said,
was Tom Brady injured in the AFC Championship, the game before the Super Bowl as well?
I forget. But there was a big decision for the Super Bowl against the St. Louis Rams. Who's gonna play because they were both healthy, and Belichick chooses Tom Brady over the $105 million guy.
10-year contract.
10-year contract guy, yeah.
Yeah, and then what happens in the last, I think it was a minute and a half, and Tom Brady, the Patriots are deep in their half. I think they're at the 20 or something, and he's happy to just play it out. But then Tom Brady hits a couple of deep passes and gets within field goal range of Adam Vinatieri, bro. And then in the last, I think, 3 to 5 seconds, the guy kicks it over, bro. And they win. What was it? It was a 16-13 or 19-13 or something. It was real close. It wasn't like a blowout. Because everyone was expecting, bro, the Rams to blow them off the field. Because they had just too many weapons at the time. Because Marshall Faulk's amazing, bro. You're never going to get another cat like that, eh? We could talk about Derrick Henry nowadays, but probably the closest thing to him I wouldn't even know who would be the closest to him, because the guy never wants to come off. There's another documentary I watched on him. Never wants to come off. He knew that if he came off, that was it for him. So he goes, nah, I earn my value when I'm on the field, not when I'm off it. And the guy, even though he was a running back, he could see the game like a quarterback. And that was the craziest thing about him. And so whatever's happening at the line, blocking schemes, because the quarterback calls that, with the center, but he could call that too, and he could see the same thing as well. So it's pretty Anyway, if I sort of got off track because Marshall Faulk was one of my favorite players, bro, when I started getting into the NFL. He was just amazing. So besides the point, Patriots weren't supposed to win at all, and the score was supposed to be run up on them, bro, and that never happened. Like I alluded to before, bro, Tom Brady gets them within kicking range to win it from a field goal, and Vinatieri nails it. And I think Vinatieri won like three Super Bowls for them like that. It was nuts, bro. If he didn't win it for them, 3 of them, he got them there at least for 2. But I do remember him kicking like field goals to win the game, bro. And it's just like, everyone, like, the confetti comes and everyone runs on the field, bro, and everyone's like, oh, just like, hands on heads like this. Like, that's Tom Brady's favorite expression, bro. Hand on head, like, oh, I can't believe it. So yeah.
So how about that, man? His rookie season, he's a second string, starts off as second string, ends up being the first guy in the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl. It's kind of like, reminds me of Magic Johnson's rookie season when he won. The LA Lakers, they won the championship on Magic Johnson his rookie year, and he played in he played center. It wasn't his position, but
how tall is he, bro? Is he like 6'10" or some shit?
Oh, we can look it up, man. He's tall.
Oh yeah, you got to be the play center, eh? To play the five.
It was also interesting as well because they talked to Drew about after the Super Bowl, and he told a story on the documentary how on the holiday he went skiing, and he found himself going up on the ski lift all by himself, and he just had his skis on, his goggles on, and he was just sitting down on the ski lift going up, and he just broke down and cried. And he said that was because of how he felt when he didn't get picked to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't because he was angry at Tom Brady. It was just because he didn't get picked, and he was like, he was disheartened.
That is, I wouldn't even know how to like process that. It was like, because you start the year out 10 year $105 million contract. And you make it to the Super Bowl, and a rookie gets to start ahead of you.
I don't know, man. I'll be happy with my $100 million, man.
Yeah. But if you want to pay that to me to be on the bench, all good, fine, man. Sweet. Just bide your time. Be prepared. Stay prepared to be prepared. When it's your time.
Yeah. So no, it was good. It was a good 50 minutes of documentary there. 50 minutes of 2001. Tom Brady 2001, but I think they're gonna. I think there's 10 episodes for 10 of his Super Bowl appearances, so it'll be interesting to see the Super Bowls that he didn't win.
That was hard, bro.
Yeah,
that was hard. Remember we did the 03-04 in a row, and then we did the 2007 seasonals, and that's when we went 18-1. And the one loss was the Super Bowl.
Yeah. But it seems like nowadays, you're right, Mac Jones looks to be the next best thing, eh?
For the Patriots, yes, bro. The system suits him. It looks like him and Josh McDaniels are gonna like go really far together, bro. But I think the more encouraging thing, bro, is Belichick still got his touch, because he's nearly 70 or so. He's like 70 something, 72. Or that could be Pete Carroll. But you know what I mean? Like, when you get to when you perceive to have gotten to that age, like, oh, you've lost it. But he's pretty much like Wayne Bennett in the NRL, bro. Just evergreen, eh? I know how to win.